over internal mics. Hello, buenos dias, ¿cómo estás? We do not speak Spanish.
Clearly.
We are voice actors.
We are?
No, we're not.
Apparently that's where all the money is because, goddamn, there's a lot of voice actors in some of these shows.
I was a voice actor once.
Were you?
Yeah.
No, you really weren't.
Yeah, I actually made my debut during X-Men Evolution Season 3. I was the understudy to Spike.
Wow. Anyway, we're about to do a podcast on The Mandalorian. Stick around. We're just doing some... Actually, I think we're basically ready, so we could actually just do it. Do it until you make it.
If you have any questions, don't ask us.
Wait, what? No, please ask us.
Why-
My only job on this podcast, besides being bald and talking, is to monitor the chat. And the job is boring because there's no chat most of the time.
Oh, my.
So give me the chats.
Give us some chat.
Challenge us.
You're the piano man.
Challenge us with your thoughts and your ideas. We want to hear them.
Should I hit the record?
Yeah, I would.
All right, we are recording. Give it a minute. Give it like 10 minutes before we start.
10 minutes? Why am I giving it so long this
All
time?
right, give it 20 minutes.
Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Was The Mandalorian Episode 6 Prisoner good? I'm your host, Ravi, joined by my two brothers, Krishna and Arjuna. Welcome, guys,
Hello.
to this action-thrilled, gunslinging, prisoner-escaping, heisting podcast.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
All right.
That was a terrible intro. Anyway, on this podcast, we review movie, TV shows. Today is obviously The Mandalorian, and we're going to start with one-word impressions. The one word that you guys come up with, that you guys thought about, and I clearly thought about as well, to kind of encapsulate the episode.
Oh, you almost said that word correctly. Well done.
Thank you.
Almost.
Yeah.
Recap the... I don't know. Leave me alone. Juna, what's your one-word impression?
I'm going to go with oceans.
What?
So,
Oh, okay.
because the episode is a heist episode, right? And the most famous film series of heists is the Oceans series. Not that it necessarily reminded me of an Oceans movie, because it's certainly not formatted, but I didn't want to just go with heist, so I've decided to go with Oceans, and because of the heist nature of it, and that's my word.
I like it.
I wanted you with Oceans to actually kind of go with some kind of weirder, like
All right,
perspective.
let me try again.
I was
Yes,
like,
thank
there's
you.
that bigger fish. And,
Yeah.
deep,
There's always bigger fish in the
like
sea.
under the
I'm
surface.
going to go with
bubbles.
Oceans because the New Republic cruiser that our heroes found themselves on in this episode was very clean. And, when you look at the ocean, sometimes it's very clear and crystal and clean.
Our
And
oceans
so-
are dirty and filthy.
And so I thought that when I was in, watching this episode,
Failed.
that we were in an
How do you
ocean
make him stop?
of emotion.
he doesn't.
And it was just an ocean of emotion
Oh my
in this episode.
Krishna, how would you
Say-
recap this
say-
episode with one
say
word?
ocean.
My one word is colorful. And
Wait, what?
it's colorful.
Both of these are weird.
Yes. Well, mine makes sense.
I don't know. There wasn't a lot of color in this episode.
Yeah,
a
I'm
lot of
not.
red.
You're thinking too
It's a lot
literally.
of white.
The characters, to me, are what stood out in terms of the heist group. And each one of them were extremely colorful people in their own way.
Oh, because the devil was in it, the group.
There was a devil. There was a muscular devil. There was a
Hellboy-ish?
it was basically
Fat
Hellboy.
Hellboy.
Yeah, fat. Come on, man.
Beer belly?
Come on. Yeah, that's all muscle. Yeah, big abs.
Mr. Krabs.
Do we actually...
Mr. Krabs, yes.
Speaking of him, does anyone know the character's actual name?
Devil man.
I would know, but then this computer locked it out of the password, so I'm just blind this whole episode.
Jesus.
now.
Well, I guess
It's all off memory. His name is Mr. Krabs.
Well, do we know what his species is, actually?
Well, we've seen
Crab.
We've seen the species before in episode 4. I
Wait,
think
we
it was
did?
in the cantina. Yeah, we've definitely seen that.
Do you think it was the same? Do you think it was the same
No.
character?
No, definitely not.
Same makeup, but yeah.
But yeah, colorful because I thought the cast in this particular episode extremely colorful.
Berg. His name is Berg.
Berg. Yes.
Like a burger.
Yeah, and that plays off nicely. I think of from what June's were the Oceans movies, where you have like this heist, and everyone's a little bit eccentric, and it's like the clash of personalities. And I thought it was, and we also got to learn a little bit more about the Mandalorian's past, through interactions with this colorful cast. So
Hey,
that's
Ravi,
my word.
can I choose your word for you?
No. So Berg, just so everyone's aware, he is part of the species known as Devorians.
That sounds really familiar.
From planet Devoron.
Oh, that's
It's
creative.
like Deborah from Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
Z.
kind of. Yeah.
So with these species, we've actually seen them before in the Clone Wars. One of the most famous ones being Chikataro Visigo. He's a crime lord. Oh, sorry. We saw them on Star Wars Rebels, not Clone Wars. And Visigo was a crime lord on Lothal.
Ah.
He wasn't red. He was actually green, but
Yeah.
he's of that species.
Yeah. I think they like red, green, or gray.
What decides their color?
Genetics,
I'm-
man.
I mean, genetics. I don't know. Maybe
the same reason that you're, pasty and we're not.
I'm darker than you, bro.
Well,
are
debatable.
Yeah.
Debatable.
Yeah.
Darker than both of you combined.
Well, that's false.
I don't. Yeah, no.
All right, Ravi, what was your one word?
So my one-word impression for the Mandalorian.
And thank you very much. Moving on.
You can't do my joke.
I just did. How's it make you
I've
feel?
done that joke, and I didn't use it this time because I really wanted to make this a quick 2-minute podcast.
You still don't know your word. I'm helping you.
I really don't know my word. I want my word to, and maybe you guys can actually help me.
Okay.
It's going to be fangs. That's
No.
your word.
Tell us what you want your word to be, and we'll help you out.
I want my word to kind of recap the clear relationship that has developed between the Mandalorian and the child / Baby Yoda.
Unhealthy.
Which
Funny, but no.
funny, but no.
No.
I mean, so my thing is like it's a very kind of clear. I'm not gonna say father. I'm gonna say like an adult parental type role.
Guardian.
And,
Guardian.
Yeah, guardian.
Cat lady.
Protective.
Protective.
That's my word.
I like that.
Protective.
Perfect. It came to you.
Protective.
Just
yeah.
talking it
Colorful, protective ocean.
Because everything right now.
Oceans.
Because remember the big thing with the Mandalorian, everything he is doing
Yeah.
is for the child.
Yeah.
He's taking on a job he clearly doesn't want to do, and he's also clearly
With people he does not want to mix with.
doesn't want to
Yeah.
mix with, and he's also running into situations where he doesn't want to do things such as murder.
Yeah. But by the way, though, this episode, if anything, I think the main point of this episode was to show that the Mandalorian was not a good guy back in the day. He killed people. Apparently, he liked it, according to certain points of view. And he's done a lot of shady stuff, and he's clearly different
He's clearly different.
because he didn't kill the spoilers. He doesn't kill the crew at the end.
And he's clearly different from the show. If you go back to episode 2, he straight up murders a bunch of Jawas.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Are Jawas people though?
Yes.
Okay, but they're an
Yes.
they're an organic,
Yes,
right?
they are.
They're an organic living.
They're clearly intelligent traders.
So put it this way, right?
the egg.
He was in episode 2, the Jawas took apart his ship.
Right.
He shot at them.
Right.
He disintegrated.
He
Like
disintegrated a bunch.
Right, but they were taking something from him.
Agreed. These people tried to kill him.
And
he
he
didn't
back.
kill
Yeah,
them.
that's true.
That shows clear character growth in about 4 episodes.
Maybe he's in love with the Twi'lek.
No,
And he
doubtful.
loves
no,
Bill
because
Murray
episode
because he thought his comedy stand-up was really good.
episode 2 Mandalorian would have killed these people.
Yeah.
No questions.
I agree.
They tried to double cross him.
Yeah.
He would have murdered
And he
them.
was on a mission.
You even saw it in the first episode when he's trying to bring in that bounty. He kills a bunch of those guys. He chops a guy in half.
Yeah.
You know, like you're seeing some changes in this guy.
And like I said, I really want to go back to my theory that I think he's been force manipulated just a little bit. Like, I'm not saying what he's doing now isn't his own, but I think to start off with, to go from that much of a change, this Baby Yoda character is clearly very powerful.
I
right?
don't think.
I think he's been manipulated a little bit. A little bit.
How would you
With the
show?
Force.
How would you show that?
So
From a creative standpoint, like how would you physically show that?
So they already showed it. There was the one scene where he's cleaning his gun,
Yeah.
and Baby Yoda has come up to him about 3 times
Yeah.
doing this, and you think it's to heal his wound.
Yeah.
I think Baby Yoda's literally working on his mind right there.
Okay. And when's the next time?
I think that's all it takes. He's powerful. He doesn't need more.
No. So what? But what I'm saying is, to me as the audience,
Yeah.
how does the directors, creators of this show tell me that actually happened?
Oh, I'm not the director. How am I supposed to answer that? We have to wait and see.
It's not.
Wait
I don't.
and see.
I don't think that's what. I don't think it's anything to do with the Force. I think it's just straight up. He saw a scared child,
child, and he
helpless
relates to
child,
it.
and he relates to it.
Sure,
I think
sure.
that's all it
He
is.
sees himself in the child.
That's
Yeah,
the
exactly.
This is an easy cop out, but I think it's more interesting if he's been manipulated by the very thing he
The
loves.
Force is snoozy, bougie,
I don't-
boring sometimes. That would be
no,
so
no, no.
boring.
What you've just described is boring. That's been done, and I think adding a little bit of manipulation, where literally you think this cute little innocent thing is all that it is, cute and innocent, is 50 years old.
Right.
And yet they age differently and it has different characteristics. I think it's more interesting to me.
I
And
think-
and by the way, I'm not saying this is happening.
Sure.
It's just a theory.
No, I actually like your theory, but I
Yeah.
think the biggest attraction to your theory is what we've seen in the show. It's a very simple show. And I think that idea is too complex for
Way
the
too
simplicity of the
complicated.
show.
I don't
Like the show is very simple. Like it's not trying to be Scorsese cinema.
but even
It's
that
trying
though,
to be.
Do you think
but even
Scorsese
that,
likes
but
this
even,
show?
but even that though is not Scorsese level. It's
No,
literally
I
just
know.
a thing using the Force
Sure.
to slightly
I-
tug on some
Why?
emotions.
I think
Why-
it's too complicated for
But
what
why-
the show's
yeah,
trying to be.
yeah.
We'll see.
I think it is.
I think we need to keep like Star Wars, and I think this episode did a really good job where I was watching the episode and I was looking around. I was like, man, this is cool because it doesn't necessarily have to be or feel like Star Wars. Specifically when they're on the New Republic prison ship and they're running through and the lights are all turning red. And I'm like, oh, cool. Now we're in
I like that vision.
I was like, this is like a cool, like, alien-esque, like, you're stuck on the ship with the droids and everything's going to go fucking crazy.
I forget Bill Burr's character's name if someone wants to look it up.
He was great.
But when we have to talk about
Mayfield.
We have to talk about
Mayfeld.
We have to talk about Mayfeld and Bill Burr himself because there's a great story behind
How this happened?
that and Bill Burr's relationship with Star Wars.
Well, let's
I
just
also,
jump into it.
I just real quick have to mention he's the fourth bald character I think in the entire Star Wars canon that I've seen.
You should write a book about
I will.
Star Wars characters.
The bald Star Wars.
But Bill Burr is a pretty famous stand-up comedian. For years, part of his stand-up routine has been about how he hates Star Wars and how it's stupid. And he's called it like
man.
it's just a bunch of Muppets like on therapy, and he's just completely railed on it for years and years and years and years. And so when the first footage during Celebration dropped
Yeah.
and you saw Bill Burr in the shots, people were like, wait, Bill Burr's in Star Wars? And then people have seen this episode and like, wait, Bill Burr is incredible in Star Wars?
Well, it's because the bag was big enough. The money was good enough that any hatred, whatever,
Sure.
he threw that out.
Well,
He's a great marketer.
Yeah, he also did a great interview. He's like, I was a little like, I signed on because I guess he knew someone who knew Favreau, and that's how they connected. And Favreau is obviously been hiring a lot of comedians to be.
He's been hiring a lot of
in this,
comedians and
show.
like he's been hiring a lot of people that he knows.
Mm.
For example, fun fact, the New Republic guard,
Yeah.
Egghead,
This is good.
side Egghead, is a actor known as Matt Lanter.
Yeah.
And Matt Lanter is interesting because he's a voice actor.
Yeah.
Specifically in the Clone Wars series, more specific with Anakin Skywalker. So Filoni's just hiring everybody that he Filoni. Wow. Favreau is just hiring like
All Filoni's buddies.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so it's just funny that Burr actually ended up in this. Loved it. People have been praising his performance. But to go back, the reason I was talking about Bill Burr and Mayfeld was of scenes in the episode is when the Mandalorian is confronting Mayfeld. And there's the flickering light, and you see the Mandalorian kind of moving.
so
It was
good.
great.
So
and you
good.
see him in the background. I just started giggling. I'm like, he.
Wait, when you see him just running through like coming
Yeah,
up?
yeah, when he's coming up to
Yeah,
me.
because they were going with like an alien
It was great.
type thing.
I personally really loved seeing the New Republic because the New Republic we literally know very little about canonically, right? Because basically you don't see them pretty much at all in Episode 7, and when you do see them, they all die.
Well, is it confirmed that they're all dead at the end of Episode 7? Because it's the capital planets or the capital star system.
But the New Republic is definitely scrambled because the Resistance seems to be the main
organized group, or whatever.
group, and they haven't really differentiated what the difference is between like if there is a New Republic army and what that is versus the Resistance army, right? At the end
It's
of this,
gotta be separate.
Well,
right.
no. Go back. Actually, it's taking it back a step back further. before the Clone Wars, the Republic
Right.
did not have an army.
Correct.
It was just a bunch of people trying to be democratic and all that crap. Each planet system had its own army, but there was no universal grand army or
Unified
anything
army.
unified there. So it's also possible, like
The New Republic is set up in a similar way.
So the way to think about this would be kind of like NATO. NATO doesn't have it has like a very small force,
yeah,
but they still rely on all the countries to send in aid.
troops and aids and
If they
technology
have,
and all
like,
that.
like
crap.
for
kind of
example,
stuff.
the United States has the biggest army on the planet, right?
Right.
So they're in theory the most powerful country in NATO.
Right. I think that's it.
It's kind of
interesting.
that's a pretty great analogy.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was
NATO.
my idea.
Oh,
Does NATO actually have any power anymore? All I hear about is the
No.
EU and the United
I don't
States.
think they do, actually.
Yeah.
I don't think they have power.
It's crazy.
well, I mean, Lucas did when he wrote the original trilogy. I mean, it's all an allegory for our own political system.
So since we're on this part, I do want to real quick because we're here. That was one part of the episode I felt was a little weaker was that he didn't kill them. Because here's why, right? I feel like he is so invested in that kid, right? And they clearly threatened him, and like his weakness is that kid, right?
Sure.
And to me, him leaving them alive, and I understand as well that this is Star Wars, this is television, and kids are watching this. So, you can't go that far, probably. But I did feel like it's too much of a jump from the Mandalorian they're describing in this episode, the early Mandalorian.
And what you've seen in earlier episodes.
And then, exactly, the Mandalorian that we've seen in episodes 1 and 2 is too much.
I'm sorry.
Of
What
a
about
jump.
your Force theory?
Well, and that's the thing, right? If that's the only thing in my mind that would, for me, make it. Oh, okay.
I
get
think
it.
there's an easy way to rectify how you're feeling.
He loves the woman.
No. Don't include the scene of them in the jail at the end. Leave it ambiguous.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they had to show that small scene.
Because I think to the point of like character development and everything, right?
Yeah.
I like the idea of leaving it
Yes,
ambiguous
agreed.
instead of force feeding you of like he left them alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Leave it ambiguous. You never see him murder them, right? But you can think he murdered them or he didn't,
Or he
depending on
did.
how you think he's developing.
Yeah.
Instead of giving you the clear cut
Or the other thing is these characters are important down the road.
probably next season.
Yeah.
I would
Or
assume
you want to
that
keep them alive because
I would assume
yeah.
that we're gonna see like every episode we're introduced to new characters. So I'm sure we're going to see these people again at some
like
point.
allies or enemies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Which
Yeah,
is
he
which
can't
is cool.
he can't just have allies. He has to have some kind of enemy.
But again, I think you can still accomplish all of that. You just don't show them alive at the end.
Because here's the thing, right? If you don't show them alive at the end, the next time they show up, you're like, oh shit.
He didn't kill them.
And it makes you rethink
Right.
everything. You have to go back and rewatch episodes, which in
Yeah.
my mind is effective.
It's a fair,
But-
and then he even says, "Remember, no questions asked."
But
So
I mean,
you don't know if he
Yeah.
killed. The only character you know he definitively killed was the droid, because he still hates droids.
And
He's
droids
gonna
aren't
kill,
people.
oh, that's
He's
a
gonna
good
kill
point,
them at any
yeah.
point that he can.
Did I ever tell you guys what I wanted to see from Star Wars was the droid revolution,
Oh, so Halo 5.
because it would literally it would have overthrown the Jedi, right? If the Jedi at their peak, I think if every single droid, if there was an AI, a central intelligence that like united all the droids and they overthrew like their organic overlords,
Yeah.
the droids would win.
So you know about this Kevin Feige Star Wars project that he's working on?
It's
Wait,
the
what?
droid overthrow?
No. He's bringing back Ultron from Marvel.
Oh,
And it's going to
God,
be the
you lost me.
Marvel Star Wars crossover that they want. Ultron, his consciousness has been transferred to the Star Wars universe, and he activates all the droids to rise up, and Tony Stark is alive.
I mean, it sounds like a
As
good
a
what if
Jedi.
episode of Marvel, but yeah.
I think in canon, well, maybe in Legends now, there is something about how droids can't. I think they're universally built where they can't harm people or something, or not harm, but I don't think they can do an overthrow or something.
Well,
of that
speaking of
nature.
droids, getting into Star Wars, we know that something's happening with C-3PO in Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, do you want me to tell you? It's nothing important.
No, there will be some relevance to it,
Well, we don't know.
at least plot-wise.
But we don't know, Arjuna.
Or maybe we do. Maybe one of us at this table has already seen the movie.
Or actually, this leads quite nicely.
Megatron.
The whole thing's a plot hole.
What?
Plot holes, continuity.
So, moving into the highlights / fan service of the episode, Arjuna so kindly kind of wrote some of these things out. I'm assuming it was Arjuna because, Krishna, you don't contribute to the outlines.
It's true.
So,
Krishna can't read or write.
so Arjuna, you have in here Mr. Krabs.
Yep.
What's Mr. Krabs, Arjuna?
Mr. Krabs, the actor who voices Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob, is our Red Devil friend, Burr. Was that his name?
Berg.
Berg. He is that guy, and I was like, that's incredible. It's Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Krabs.
He's also known as he normally plays like a military general type in a lot of shows. I think in The Punisher and Supergirl. And
Wait, is he in Supergirl?
He's in Supergirl season 1 as like a general.
Jeez.
Yeah, he always plays a military type. Great actor, great guy. I'm glad they had him for the episode, and he did great. And then the voice actor for the droid was I don't know the actor. I've always
Richard
Ayoade.
Yeah.
Who is most famous for his role in IT Crowd as Moss, was the voice of the droid. Bill Burr needs no introduction. He was actually in Breaking Bad as one of Saul Goodman's
I always
fixers.
forget that.
I'm really hoping that the other guy makes a cameo.
Huey?
Huey.
Yeah.
Get
Is
Huey in
Huey
there, man.
still around? Or?
But actually, what?
Wow.
Why not? We already have Gus Fring appearing at some point.
It's true.
We already have a Breaking Bad
Well,
connection.
no. The bigger Breaking Bad connection is
the whole
Deborah,
tamale.
is Deborah Chow. Deborah
that's
Chow
right.
directed some episodes of Breaking Bad.
That must be
and
where
she,
some of these connections are coming. Because
Yeah.
for sure.
wait, okay, no offense, but would Bryan Cranston not be one of the best Star Wars characters?
He
He'd
would
definitely
be
be a bad guy.
way too intense.
He
A bad guy. Have him be a bad guy.
I mean, he got his start with Power Rangers.
It's
yeah.
true. Started high and low with Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, or high.
So we've got some really good cameos, and I think that's
Great casting.
great casting
yeah,
for
this
sure.
episode was great for casting.
Oh,
for
and
sure.
the leader of the guy who gave him the job, who he worked with before,
Sons of
Sons of
Anarchy.
Sons of
Anarchy.
Anarchy, and he's also famous for being in
Batman Begins.
as Gordon's partner. Was he in The Departed?
He was not in The Departed.
He looks like a guy who would be.
Yeah, he seems
But
like a guy
I
in
don't
The
think he
Departed.
was.
He was not though, but yeah. Heist format. What do we think about that? Now we're getting real quick. Sorry. So we're getting the show has kind of built itself upon this idea that it is like the Western format. Going into like a heist format, I'm not sure I can think of any like famous.
Magnificent Seven.
Is a heist format?
It gets a team together, but it's not a heist. Obviously,
Yeah,
they defend a town.
yeah,
I
exactly.
can guarantee there's
but
been
it's
heist
it's
in
kind of like a
Westerns.
heist format.
If you think about westerns, like
Sure.
robbing banks.
Yeah, for
Absolutely, you that definitely exist.
I think
We're not well versed in
I
the
think
Western genre.
what's interesting about this episode, and it's kind of been proven in the last few weeks, it's there's the overarching story isn't necessarily served in every episode. Like the idea is that there's the Mandalorian and he's protecting this child, but every episode almost just feels like a one-off
It's like
type of adventure.
absolutely
right?
a different level of involvement.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like there's like a television. Well, let's take a show like Watchmen, right, which is a very serialized story. This doesn't necessarily feel serialized. It almost feels like here is different cool things like in formats we can do with this character, and we just drop him in different situations. And it's like we're doing a heist this week, and we're doing Protect the Village this week, and we're doing Tatooine this week. Like that's kind of what the show feels like right now. And it's my question is,
Yes.
what's the point?
So
Wait, what?
well, so I think there's a clear point, and I'm gonna use another Star Wars series as the example, the Clone Wars.
Yes.
The Clone Wars did not go the traditional route where it was like one season and we have to stop Count Dooku from killing the Night Sisters.
Right.
It was more like it was plotted out.
Sure.
It was more traditional kind of like one-off adventures and episodes. And there was like the overarching thing. Doctor Who back in the day, probably post what's his name, Crazy Man with the insane stories that you went to
Matt Smith.
Yeah, so
And pre and post.
yeah, I guess. But those were also somewhat like there was the overarching thing.
Sure.
And the overarching thing here is, and it's a very simple story. And the recap was perfect at this episode, which was if you all remember, it was just like murder,
Pretty
explosion, and then it was they'll keep coming for him, the child. And I think that's the main story. The main story is people want this kid. Don't know why. Maybe we'll find out why. But the big thing is
slightly misleading though, because these people have no idea who this kid is until they see him. So it's a little misleading, and then you're right. There's a large section of people after the kid. This group of four mercenaries outside of the Mandalorian have no idea who this kid is until they meet the kid, and then the droid intercepts the message from.
But he never never gave that information out about who the kid is. This episode wasn't about people after the kid. It was about the Mandalorian protecting the kid.
Right.
That's the main thing, and that's the main theme I think for this entire season is Mandalorian protecting child.
But to me, the story hasn't progressed in weeks. Right? He's still protecting the kid, but what has changed about their situation since they left the planet?
The last 3 episodes have been him trying to make money.
Hold on, Arjuna. You can't be mad about a show not progressing fast. You used to watch The Walking Dead. And that fucking show
didn't progress for
did not progress.
I'm gonna say there was more progression in episodes than there has been just in terms of plot than the Mandalorian so far.
Yeah.
And so to bring back your Clone Wars comparison, the reason Clone Wars works in that format is because you're taking a whole bunch of characters within the Clone Wars, and episodes focus on different characters and different points of views.
Right.
Mandalorian is just focused on the Mandalorian.
Protecting the child,
right? We're stuck in the same plot point. Like it's just different adventures, and it's like I got some money. Cool. Now I got some more money. Cool.
I see literally no problem.
It's just interesting.
There's no problem.
I think the only thing is that like the episodes have served to show us where. The state of the New Republic,
right?
Mandalorian's past in terms that he used to be like a cold-blooded killer.
But my argument again for that is we know that already.
Sure.
So it's like
I think, but also maybe to show that. To be honest, age-wise, we can now place the Mandalorian. So before this episode, we maybe couldn't tell how old the Mandalorian is. We know it definitively now. He's probably at least in his 40s because him and Sons of Anarchy guy went on stuff together when they were younger. So we could almost definitely say that he's a little bit older, middle-aged or older.
We kind of knew that though because we knew he was a kid during the
Clone Wars. I guess as well.
Yeah.
But this reinforces it.
Yeah.
I feel to me at least. I'm like it's a voice behind a mask.
So
you can't really tell.
I feel like the show is cool. I'm just starting to lose sight of
interest.
Right, like the show, like okay, it's cool, and I'm getting cool Easter eggs, and like it's cool to see a New Republic cruiser and see a New Republic soldier, right? That stuff's cool to me. But like as a Star Wars fan, as a fan of good television and stories, I'm just like,
it's a holding. Pad.
Hold on.
It feels like a holding pad.
This is
cool.
This is not the best storytelling in terms of like progressing a story.
Sure.
But like. Throwing something on and like having to pay attention because you want to pick up on all the other Easter eggs, I think this is great. Star Wars has never been like, oh my goodness, this is cinematically great. It's not
cinema
ever about that. It's always about the toys.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what it's
not wrong.
God damn, they're gonna sell us.
Load of toys. That's what it's about. It's the toys, and you get those brief moments in Star Wars where you're like, whoa. For example,
the Force,
the whole thing with like Ahsoka and Ezra and time and that fucking thing, or like Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan on the Force planet.
You've mentioned Ahsoka twice now.
That's Ahsoka Tano.
Ahsoka Tano's a great character. Like, she's written really, really well.
She actually, real quick aside, if you think about the first time you saw her in that shitty ass movie,
such a good
everyone. Movie. The entire Star Wars community said, this is the worst Star Wars character ever.
It's true.
And she's gone from the worst to top 3.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams
It's insane.
recently said in a junket
That's a
interview-
comeback.
So the interviewer asked JJ, "Who's your favorite character?" JJ said Han Solo, and then JJ asked the interviewer, "Who's your favorite character?" And the interviewer said, "Ahsoka Tano."
Oh no.
And JJ's
Oh,
like,
no.
"Oh, cool, that's interesting." He's like, "You should pay attention to episode 9," and then he left.
No.
Wait, whoa.
Just blew out. Stop.
I'm blowing out the mics. but-
Well, I mean, we know.
No, we don't know.
We do know. Episode 9 is gonna be filled with fucking cameos
Yeah,
in
it's
the
gonna
Star
be.
Wars universe.
I think it's an Easter egg. I don't know. I don't think she's gonna be. in it,
you can't. She
necessarily.
can't. That's the thing that she can't.
Well, she could.
No, she couldn't because
Why?
people are stupid, and it would confuse people royally because they don't know who this character is.
Ra-
to them,
You
Ravi,
can have her
hey,
show up
Ravi,
in the background.
Guess
Why
what?
not?
Guess what,
but
Ravi?
she won't be integral
No,
to anything.
No,
Ravi,
absolutely.
Ravi,
Yeah,
I'm gonna-
that's what I mean. That's what I
Yeah.
mean.
No, I'm going to list off a bunch of names, and you can tell me, you can admit that you're wrong.
Okay.
General Grievous, Count Dooku,
What
Qui-Gon Jinn.
what
These are
about-
characters who just popped up.
Yep.
You don't get a whole lot of background story, and they die in 20 minutes or whatever. But they're there. Boom, done.
Supreme
But you
leader.
know what?
Supreme
Snoke.
Hold on.
Leader
No,
Snoke.
stop. You let me finish. What I'm saying is she's not going to have an integral part to the story. Those characters you listed are integral. Qui-Gon is a big thing.
They show up out of nowhere. That's what I'm saying.
Christian, the entire movie of episode 1 is mostly about Qui-Gon.
Forget Qui-Gon. General Grievous literally appears out of nowhere, and all he serves is to be a bad guy. Why can't you have someone who comes in and all of a sudden, like
Christian's, so what Christian's saying is, why can't you have a pre-established character like Ahsoka Tano come in and just appear? And why, and would that really confuse people?
Yes.
Why?
why?
People are stupid.
Oh,
But
what
did
if you
Did
introduce-
General Grievous confuse people to the point where it made the movie suffered?
Yeah, not at
And
all.
we didn't suffer, but people were still confused by him. And then we got all this other backstory afterwards
Sure.
about him.
So
Same
okay,
thing,
okay.
same thing.
You watch episode 9 and you're like, wow, who is this weird character with white lightsabers? I'm gonna do some research. Oh, here's all this pre-existing information about her. Now I know.
Your faith in people is too high.
I think
No, not at all.
I said it.
No,
but
Lando
but-
Calrissian.
no, but Christian, but Christian's
characters
right.
you
They
throw
just
into a
show up.
movie.
They literally
Yeah, they
just show up with one line,
Yeah.
and it's worked.
And it,
So
I will
I
bet
actually-
you both
I don't disagree. With
$1
about what?
that it's just in the background.
No,
walking.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you, but I also agree with Christian's point of if they truly wanted to just introduce Ahsoka, they would just throw in.
They can do it.
And you know what? They've already done it before. There's a character played by Forrest Whitaker.
Fuck.
I don't know if you
who
can hear that.
who was this
I don't know if you can hear that.
who was in this movie called Rogue One.
Great movie.
Who's been
Tear it
established
up.
Who
in
just
a whole
shows
thing.
up,
Yeah.
and he's been pre-established
Yeah.
in 2 animated series.
2, not
2.
1. He is both a young boy, and then he's a
He's a
Forrest
man.
Whitaker. Then he's Forrest Whitaker.
He's actually done the trifecta, his character.
He's
What
in
do
the
you
video game, right?
He's in the video game.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Is it voiced by? Is he voiced
Yeah, it's voiced by
Forrest?
Forrest Whitaker.
But is he in
so-
the soundtrack?
No, that's just that band Hugh or HU. Anyway, Christian's stupid.
What?
So
You just got pwned.
shut
son.
the fuck up. It's my podcast.
It's not just your
You're
podcast.
fired.
What? I'm the producer.
No, I outsourcing it to a cat.
Oh God.
Anyway, so we've got here battle sequence, droid ambush, devil fight. Actually, yeah, devil fight, and then flicker hallway scene. We kind of talked about that. I want to talk more about the fact that the New Republic is using droids.
Yes, that is interesting.
And
That
this is
very
interesting because
Yes.
there was a fucking war with droids versus organics. Why the fuck are we getting militarized droids in the New Republic?
Because
What are the theories? Let's go.
I have 2 theories.
Let's hear 'em.
One, first of all, forget the droid war. Why would you wish life over something that droids can do? Right.
True.
2, the insurance is way lower, I'm sure.
Christian's transitioning his career into Star Wars universe type insurance.
And 3, honestly, I get the impression from everything that we've heard with the New Republic, it's that they're a joke. They probably don't have a whole lot of people signing up to join them.
Makes sense.
That,
well, actually,
which forces them probably to use droids.
we already know that we don't. We have because of oh my god, her character 2 episodes ago.
Gina Carano.
She ran away.
We
Oh,
also,
that's right. Yeah,
we
yeah.
also know they don't have a lot of money because the people they have fly their X-wings are directors of the Mandalorian.
They're directors of The Mandalorian. Yeah. They can't hire.
We'll
extra
get
people,
to who those people are in a second. But I thought it was interesting. Did anybody smile like an idiot when they saw the Jedi symbol?
Wait, what?
Wait, where?
Well, it's like the New Hope. It's like the Jedi.
Oh, the Republic.
The Republic symbol on his arm patch.
So I'll be
and the
honest.
droids.
So I'll be
had that.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Where I was paying the most attention in this episode when I found out it was a New Republic cruiser was seeing the cruiser, what was on the cruiser, what they were wearing, all that type of stuff.
I really thought the prison was going to be someone crazy.
I
it ended up being the brother.
Right.
but-
I honestly thought, like, as they're going past, you were going to see so many different Easter eggs.
I think we
within
did,
those
though.
scenes.
So I think the first guy you see, he's this bald guy, but he's wearing robes. He looks like a Jedi. Which doesn't actually make any sense, right?
Okay.
If you place it in the time.
Sure.
It's 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So him being a Jedi makes no sense. But I want to rewatch it and just look for that part. Second of all, we see an Imperial. It looks like an Imperial officer.
Right.
So he's wearing Imperial uniform. And then we see an alien with 4 arms. I think those are the 3 that stick out.
Do we know if Luke has established his academy yet?
I don't believe so.
Because it's 5 years after.
He wouldn't have a guy that old, I don't think. I mean, maybe he does, but
The Force can come at you at any age.
yeah. But remember the Jedi. So I mean, we're definitely going off track here. But Luke Skywalker, correct me if I'm wrong. Does he try and follow the Jedi code during this early iteration? Like, would we assume that he wouldn't train people over a certain age?
We don't know. We have no idea.
Yeah.
We know little about his academy, to be honest.
That's
the
true.
Academar.
That's true. Yeah, and the expanded universe isn't going to count, obviously.
Yeah.
There is another video. The Battlefront 2 storyline does take place.
The DLC.
The DLC takes place years afterwards, and the Academy is established. And then following the immediate events of Endor and the Death Star, we do a couple of stories with Luke in that video game where you go to various...
What game?
The Battlefront 2 story.
Is that canon?
It is canon, yeah.
Oh.
The new Battlefront 2. We do go with Luke to like various planets and locations of Palpatine and stuff, and there's some mentions that he's looking to build a Jedi or the Academy and all that stuff.
Cool.
But there's nothing in terms of I've started it. Nothing like that. So yeah, once again, flicker in the hallway. That was pretty cool.
That was a cool scene.
It was kind of goofy. You said you were laughing, right?
Yeah, I was just laughing. I was just giggling seeing him come closer.
That's funny.
So fun fact, Bryce Dallas Howard, who directed Episode 4, Sanctuary, revealed something interesting about Pedro Pascal and The Mandalorian.
He's not really in the...
There's weeks he takes off. Because he's during the production of this, I think he was also doing a play in England, King Lear. So for the example, the episode she worked on, the actor you see under there is his stunt double the entire time.
Interesting.
In which episode?
The Sanctuary.
That makes sense.
4.
And that was my... I mean, you can get away with that because, yeah, he's...
Can't see his face.
Can't see his face.
Honestly,
I mean,
it's interesting. It's like they probably paid big bucks to get Pedro Pascal. Like, he's a pretty big name at this point. But I wonder if Disney's kind of having buyer's remorse because you never see his face.
I mean,
I don't know, it's
his voice is pretty distinct.
well, you're not just paying... I mean, let's be honest. In this day and age, you're not just getting an actor for their acting skills.
It's true.
You're also getting them from a marketing perspective.
But-
and Pedro is a great face to market.
But here's the thing, though. Like, are fans probably more disappointed because you don't really get to see him or experience the Pedro experience?
I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean,
Because I have
Baby Yoda has literally any qualms that you have with that.
Sure.
You're just like Baby Yoda. You forget everything.
because I have seen people complain. It's like, oh, when do I get to see his face? Or like,
Never.
who is he? I don't know.
The whole point of the character is that you don't see his face. So.
Sure.
But I understand what you're saying. I would say though his voice is pretty distinct.
Right.
not only is his voice distinct, but you already know from real world experience of what Pedro Pascal or what the Mandalorian could potentially look like, because we know what Pedro Pascal
Do
looks
we
like.
think that the Mandalorian is really the Red Viper from Game of Thrones post getting his head exploded
No.
by the mountain?
Wait,
Because what you
That's
just
why
said makes
he
no
wears
sense.
a helmet.
Speaking of theories, did you all remember what Bill Burr's character says?
No.
When
Bill
they're on
Burr?
their ship, Bill Burr's character says to the Mandalorian,
What?
"Are you a Gungan under there?"
Oh,
yeah.
that was
Misa.
Misa.
He's a Mandalorian.
I was like,
That was no lie.
That was good.
The Canto Bite reference, the Gungan reference. This episode was full of stuff that fans hate. The Canto Bite, the Gungans.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if there was anything else.
And this episode was directed by Deborah Chow.
No,
Yeah.
this one was episode.
Oh.
This one was directed by
Dave Filoni.
And this was one of the episodes that was not written by Favreau.
Oh, okay.
This was by Christopher Yost, I believe, and it
Rick-
was Rick Fumiura.
Yeah, he directed this one. So speaking of him and Deborah Chow and Dave Filoni, they were the 3 TIE pilot
X-Wing
pilots at the very end.
I definitely noticed Filoni. Christian was like eating or something. Like, Christian, is that Dave Filoni?
I had no idea.
Dave Filoni is such a. I mean, he clearly won. He's winning at life.
I'm surprised he didn't get away with wearing his cowboy hat.
Well, he was wearing a helmet, so I guess it's the same thing.
It just would have been funny if they still had him with a cowboy hat in there.
Cool.
Speaking of real side tangent, they're filming season 2 of The Mandalorian right now.
Yep.
And some of the directors are coming out for who's doing what episodes. Carl Weathers is directing an episode.
Oh shit!
I hope it's a Rocky episode.
I hope it's like
Sylvester Stallone
yeah,
shows
like he
up.
loses his armor. He has to like go through challenges or some shit.
No. It's like literally like the whole episode's around a bar fight. So like this is how you would do it, right? Like there's a bar and that crashed, and so he's stuck on this planet, and this bar is like the only place that he can stay at.
Right.
And then there's like the big bad bully of the bar, and the bully like challenges him to a fight. He loses it, and he has to re-challenge the bully and beat him in a fist fight. I mean that's a Carl Weathers episode right there. Boom.
John Favreau is actually going to direct an episode for season 2. He didn't direct any for season 1. He was just the showrunner, and he wrote almost all the episodes. I believe Dave Filoni will be directing at least one more episode. Ryan Johnson visited the set, as we revealed last week, and may direct an episode for this season, probably season 3, if and when it happens.
And that season will just take all other story things and just shove them out the window, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And it'll also take forever to do anything. It'll be a 2-hour episode, and I'll want to just,
You really hate
quit.
Ryan Johnson.
Yes,
huh?
I do, actually.
But you liked Knives Out.
I think the concept, like most of it was good. The pacing was complete shit. Do we do a podcast on it?
We're going to do a podcast.
We are going to. Yeah, I'll say
yeah,
it. I'll save it
for our, so to let people know, we will be doing pretty much once The Mandalorian is done, in January, February time, we'll be doing a series of Oscar type podcasts for movies that are going to be nominated during award season. We basically have a backlog of movies that we didn't want to review.
Real quick, sorry, Arjuna, we'd actually have to get it all done in January because the Oscars are February 9th.
Yeah, so but it can be a little post after. Like, people will still be checking out those movies post. In fact, that is when people check out those movies once they win awards. People are like, "Wait, this won an award? I should watch it."
Wow, we just keep insulting people on this podcast.
Not great.
Let's talk about the lowlights.
Mm,
Arjuna, once again, I feel like this was you.
I did.
Vampire Twi'leks.
Yeah,
Twi'leks.
okay, so I had a big problem. This is easily my biggest issue with the episode. What the fuck? Were they just fucking vampires or something? Because they just went...
Well, no, to be fair, it wasn't both of them. It wasn't both the brother and the sister. It was just the sister.
Well, no,
he
he did it
weird
a couple
too.
times too. But you didn't notice because, she was in the whole episode. He was only in the second half. But it was literally like, okay, it's fine, like showing that they have fangs or whatever. Even though I was not
Pointy
familiar
teeth.
that was a characteristic of Twi'leks. First of all,
Twi'leks.
okay, twit faces.
Wow.
But it was ridiculous. Like it was ridiculous.
But hold on a second. Let's forget that they're Twi'leks. Like, look at our own culture as human beings. We have people that dress up right now in the world pretending to be fucking vampires.
Okay.
So maybe this brother and sister, that's their fucking weird thing.
It's just a weird. I just don't see the point of including that in this.
Arjuna,
maybe that's what
Arjuna,
Twi'leks are like.
Why do
I don't
people
know.
dress up as vampires in general?
Yeah.
This is Star Wars. It's not the real
Why do
world.
people speak French?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Wait, why? Better question. Better question.
God.
Why are the French trying to make whiskey?
Oh man.
Oh, coming soon, Whiskey Bros episode about a French whiskey. This will be can't miss. Internet.
Spoiler alert. Weak.
Anyway,
But it was just
yeah.
it was so. I think you wrote down someone wrote down Key and Peele sketch.
Yes, the Key and Peele sketch of vampires.
Because
it's just so.
that's literally what it was. Like no offense to the actress. Like she did, she really
I thought she
immersed
was
herself
great,
in the
yeah.
character.
Yep.
But it was whatever her direction was, or whatever the notes were, or however they edited it. It was ridiculous.
Do you know who
Really?
the actress was, by the way, for that Twilight?
She looked very familiar.
Have you heard of a little movie series called Harry Pooper?
No.
Yes, Harry Potter.
So her name is Natalia Tenner. She played in Harry Potter. What's the professor's name? She married the professor in that thing.
She married Lupin, right? She's Tonks,
Yes.
and she's also in Game of Thrones
Yes.
as
She's
what's
great.
her face? Yeah, she's a great actress.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why they did that to her.
I feel
Really?
like it was either the direction,
slightly-
over script, or I think maybe they probably like had her do that, and then they just cut every single instance.
She's a sensuous assassin. She likes to kill, and she likes to do that one other thing.
Okay,
Suck
moving on.
I'm just saying, that's what she is.
So our Easter theories was about the X-Wing Pies, where we covered that. Chicken Man. Where is he?
He's coming. He's in the finale.
Do we think do you think he's a finale, or do you think he's episode 7? And this could also go into our bold predictions for next episode.
Is this episode 6 we just watched?
We just watched episode 6. There are 2 more episodes left. The episode 7.
Wait, I thought there was 3 more.
Two more.
Only 2? It's only 8?
It's only
Only
8
8.
episodes. And you have to wait another year.
Jesus
Well, we're not
Christ.
sure how long we have to wait. Could be longer. Could be less time.
Yeah.
Going
Jesus.
back in 2 years.
Where is he? Well, he's chilling. He's waiting for us to catch up to, the
He's
episode
eating
he's
some
in.
chicken. He's busy.
Actually, I don't know if this ties into anything, but it's interesting that they pushed up the episode, right? The next one to Wednesday, the day before Rise of Skywalker.
Well, this is the thing that's kind of misleading. Everyone is saying on the internet that the episode was pushed up like post. The original schedule showed
had it.
that it was coming out at
Oh,
this
it's
point.
always
I'm-
coming out.
I'm
there.
pretty
Okay.
sure they did that. Is that corporate synergy of like, we don't want 2 of our biggest products to come out on the same day. How do we use this to further promote another big product? And it was announced on social media that there is a special sneak peek, never before sneak peek attached to probably the post of this episode.
Question, and we
weird.
should
9.
decide this now because we're obviously seeing episode 9 the day after. Are we all gonna watch this sneak peek? Because I've stopped watching any of the TV spots because I've been hearing rumors or spoilers are dropping in there. So I've completely stopped watching anything.
I say we watch it after.
Yeah, I'd be down with that.
I'm cool.
I
with that.
say I would like to go into this movie not knowing anything, or going.
We already
knowing as
know.
little
We
as
already
possible.
know too much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
we already know.
I
way
know
too much.
just the right amount.
You already know Darth Sidious is in this.
We
That
know-
ruins everything.
We know there are lightsabers.
Nope,
We know
you
that
don't.
there are horses in space.
Yeah, that's true.
We know there's a
that.
new fucking droid.
Let's go back to the Mandalorian. Keep it on point here. So we have our bold predictions, ranging from Giancarlo eating chicken, to the Mandalorian getting injured and being healed by Baby Yoda, to other things. But I want to kind of recap real quick. Krishna, you said for episode 6 we would see a lightsaber. You lost. Hit yourself. I said we'll take place on a brighter, more alive planet. I lost.
There was no planet.
There was no planet. And then Arjuna said connection to Rise of Skywalker.
Which,
Yeah, punch yourself,
Which
you're
we
wrong.
don't know,
Actually,
but you're
could
probably
be
wrong.
With the New Republic.
You're
You
probably
never know.
You're probably wrong. Though you're gonna punch yourself anyway.
No.
Do it.
Punch
Do
yourself
it.
in
No.
the face.
Do it.
Do it. Do it.
Do it.
Do it. I am the Senate. Do it.
So
What are our predictions? Oh, and also to kind of with our larger predictions for the season, Christian, you still think we're gonna see Origins of the First Order?
I mean, I have no idea, but
I said that we won't end up knowing anything about Baby Yoda or the child, and Arjuna said that the Mandalorian would have a crew. Yo,
we've seen some of this stuff. Look, he had a crew in this episode.
well,
doesn't count.
My prediction is correct.
no.
Christian, what's your prediction for episode 7?
I don't really have one, so I'm gonna come up with one right now.
It's a remake of episode 4.
My prediction for episode 7 is revenge, a revenge story.
No, that's episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
No. So we've seen just about I think every kind of Western trope, and I think the one that we probably haven't seen is like a personal revenge story.
The Chicken Man.
So I'm gonna say Episode 7 is some kind of personal to the Mandalorian revenge story.
Okay. I like that. Junior, you want to write that in?
I have no access.
Oh.
I got it. So, Junior, what about you?
I actually have 2 predictions. I want to make
Wow.
one for episode 7, but I also now want to make a prediction for Star Wars Rise of Skywalker.
You can't make that on a podcast. Yeah, you can.
Because it's related to the Mandalorian.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear your episode 7 bold prediction.
Okay, my episode 7 bold prediction is that we will finally see, because the only returning characters we've seen are basically the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda. I think we will see another returning. We will see a character who's only been in one episode return.
You got to name the character.
And that character will be, what's her name?
Gina Carano.
Well, what's her character's name?
No
Does anyone
idea.
know?
Just call her Shock Trooper.
The Shock Trooper. I think the Shock Trooper will return in episode 7, and I believe we will see a ton of those well, I guess I'll get to it next week for episode 8. And my prediction, because J.J. Abrams loves cameos, we will see some type of cameo shout-out to the Mandalorian. We might see his ship in the background somewhere. We might see him walking around or something. Or there might be some Baby Yoda reference of some type, but I bet there will be a reference.
I personally hope that we don't get any of that, because then it kind of ruins the Mandalorian. Because remember, episode 9 is what,
25 years later.
25 years. That means he survives 25 years.
I don't think it's...
And I hate that.
Baby
I don't
Yoda
want to
would.
know that.
Baby Yoda would.
I don't think it's a spoiler if you show his ship.
You know, so I was actually talking to someone about Baby Yoda specifically, and him making an appearance in episode 9, or maybe he's going to go against Palpatine or something like that.
That's what fans want.
But the problem is, even though it's 25 years later, if we look at Baby Yoda and how he's kind of been interacting, he's not talking. He's kind of very, very obviously childlike. He's a baby. He's probably around that 1-2 year old mark, which means it's like you could argue like 25 to 50 years is 1 or 2. So 25 years later, he's still going to be...
He'll be like 3.
Yeah, he'll be with the same mindset, so he can't do
He
shit.
might be a toddler, so he might be saying some words.
Cool. He's going to go, I am descendant.
He's like, Daddy Yoda.
He's like, where's Daddy? Where's the Mandalorian?
He's like, I'm just waiting for him to like force choke someone or like
Oh my
force
God.
lightning.
He's
Why
been-
does he have to be good? Why does he have to be a Jedi? Why can't he be Sith?
My bold prediction is going to be, finally, Giancarlo will show up.
And he'll be eating.
No, he's
I
not.
really hope he doesn't even show up this season.
The,
Just to be wrong.
the reason I think he's going to show up specifically is because the New Republic is aware that something happened on their prison ship because of the whole transmitter thing. The Mando ship was tracked from the prison ship all the way to the location where they blew the stuff up. Somebody, footage, whatever, is going to leak, and then Giancarlo and his Death Troopers are going to be sent to go retrieve that package.
Here's a question I have. It's not made explicitly clear at the end of the episode. Did the X-Wings fully blow up the station?
Yes. They were bombing it.
I thought they just blew up the ship.
That's
They
what
start
I'm-
shoot. You start seeing explosions around it too. They were shooting everywhere.
Do we think that
That's excessive.
it's kind of weird.
no, do we think that the fixer of the episode, the one who put the job together, escapes?
No.
Yes. You see him running. Of course he escapes. You don't show him running unless, So I personally think they blow up the hangar, and then the rest of it, he probably had enough time to get into a ship.
Also, and here's another question.
Definitely escape.
Why did the Mandalorian save those other 3, but basically let those 2 and probably innocent people that did nothing to wrong him on that station all die?
Well, they're all criminals. That's a criminal organization.
So why deliberately save the people that directly tried to kill you, and then pretty much directly kill a bunch of people that didn't?
He let
Because-
same reason Obi-Wan Kenobi didn't kill
He's
Anakin.
not a Jedi. He doesn't believe in that
let
shit.
he left
No.
it to the Force.
That was his only way to escape. Like
That's true. Yeah.
like the guys, he knew that they were gonna kill him. Right? They're gonna send something after him to kill him. So he was like, the only way out of this is to leave the tracker with them, and then it's up to the New Republic, and it's up to them what they do. So it's like he did the best he could.
Interesting
He didn't kill them.
rationalization.
I mean, it's not mine. It's the Mandalorian.
No, right, for the character, yes.
Yes.
I think it makes sense. I would do the same thing.
I would have killed the baby a long time ago.
Arjuna, was the Mandalorian prisoners good?
Yes, it was a good episode, but the fangs were annoying, and I'm losing my patience with the show.
Okay.
Wow.
Chris, you're okay.
Oh wow, Ravioli.
Krishna, was The Mandalorian, Episode 6, The Prisoner. Good.
It was good. I loved the colorful cast of mercenaries. It added a little bit something different that we haven't quite seen. We got a little bit of Mandalorian's backstory. But yeah, it was good. Ravi, was Mandalorian Episode 6, Prisoner, bad?
No.
Excellent.
good.
Yeah. Tricked you. Almost tricked you.
It was really
Sorry,
good.
it was good. It was
at
good. Yeah, it was
being
good. Yeah.
The best scene by far is Baby Yoda and the droid putting his hand up, and then the droid getting its guts blown out by the Mandalorian, and then the Baby Yoda looking at his hand going, holy shit.
Did I do that? Did I do that?
I am the most powerful thing ever. Where's that shiny ball thing?
Yeah, for real.
That's going to do it for us, guys. Thank you for listening to the Was It Good podcast. We just wrapped up The Mandalorian, Episode 6, Prisoners. You can find us on Twitter at Was It Good, on Instagram at Was It Good BTM, on Twitch, twitch.tv/Was It Good. As always, we try and live stream our podcast. You can also hit us up with questions, concerns, thoughts, recipes, all that fun stuff.
Shirts you want us to wear during the live stream.
Please just cut it. Thank you.